Now, according to biblical accounts, in punishment for their wickedness, the Lord rained down burning sulfur over the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, destroying their cities, their people, and everything around them, right down to the vegetation of the land.
For centuries, people believed it was nothing more than a legend, a divine warning, a moral tale about judgment and sin. Yet, recent archaeological discoveries suggest something astonishing. These cities might have actually existed, and the truth about what destroyed them is more terrifying than anyone could have imagined. But before we uncover what scientists have found beneath the sands of the Middle East, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Now let's journey back in time, to the very heart of one of history's greatest mysteries, the ruins of Sodom and Gomorrah. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah appears in Genesis chapters 18 and 19. The Bible tells us that these were prosperous cities located near the Dead Sea, in a region once lush and fertile, known as the Plain of Jordan. It was a place described in Genesis 13:10 as well-watered everywhere like the garden of the Lord. But prosperity gave way to pride, and pride gave way to corruption. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah became infamous for their wickedness and immorality. Their society had decayed to the point that, according to Scripture, God could find not even 10 righteous people among them. And so, as Genesis 19:24-25 records, "Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah, from the Lord out of the heavens. Thus he overthrew those cities and the entire plain, destroying all those living in the cities, and also the vegetation in the land. Abraham, watching from a distance, saw smoke rising from the land like smoke from a great furnace. Everything was gone. Every home, every person, every trace of life." For thousands of years, this passage has inspired fear and fascination. Did these cities truly exist? Was their destruction divine judgment? Or could it have been something else? Something natural, yet equally apocalyptic? Explorers, scholars, and archaeologists have searched for Sodom and Gomorrah for centuries. The Bible gives us a clue. They were located on the plains of the Jordan near the Dead Sea, one of the harshest and most geologically unusual regions on Earth. Some believed that the cities now lie buried beneath the southern basin of the Dead Sea, submerged by rising waters over millennia. Others argued they might be found along the eastern edge, in what is now modern-day Jordan. And then, in recent decades, a team of archaeologists led by Dr. Stephen Collins began excavating a site known as Tal El-Hammam, a vast ancient city mound located just northeast of the Dead Sea in the Jordan Valley. What they discovered there stunned the world. At first, Tal El-Hammam seemed like just another Bronze Age city, large, wealthy, and strategically located on a trade route. But as archaeologists dug deeper, they uncovered evidence of sudden, catastrophic destruction around 1650 BC, the very time period many biblical scholars associate with the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. The more they unearthed, the clearer it became that something extraordinary had happened there. Layers of ash and debris several feet thick told the story of an unimaginable disaster. Pottery was not just broken, it was melted. Stones were scorched and fused together. Even mud bricks appeared crystallized, as if flash-heated by temperatures hotter than volcanic lava. Scientists later determined that some pottery fragments had been turned to glass, a transformation requiring heat of over 2,000 degrees Celsius. For comparison, that's hotter than the surface of a volcano, and nearly as hot as the detonation of a nuclear bomb. The destruction wasn't slow, like a fire spreading through a city. It was instantaneous, as though the entire settlement was obliterated in a single blinding moment. When human remains were examined, researchers found skeletons twisted in unnatural positions, as though people had been thrown by an unseen blast. Bones were shattered and burned, often fused with fragments of pottery and metal. Tiny mineral beads, known as trinitite, were found mixed into the soil. This rare glassy material only forms under extreme heat, such as during nuclear detonations or cosmic impacts. The evidence pointed to something not of the Earth. something that came from the sky. Further analysis revealed that the soil and surrounding area were heavily contaminated with salt. Scientists believe that the explosion's shockwave blasted massive salt deposits from the nearby Dead Sea across the plains, rendering the once fertile land barren for centuries, just as the Bible described. It was as if the heavens had opened, unleashing a fiery inferno so intense that nothing survived. So what could have caused such devastation? The answer, scientists say, may lie in a cosmic event, a meteor airburst. If this sounds familiar, it's because something similar happened in 1908 over the remote forests of Siberia. Known as the Tunguska event, a meteor exploded in the atmosphere with the force of hundreds of atomic bombs, flattening over 2,000 square kilometers of forest. At Tal El-Hammam, researchers believe a similar event occurred around 1650 BC. A massive meteor, perhaps 50 meters wide, entered Earth's atmosphere and exploded just above the city. The resulting fireball would have generated heat hotter than the sun's surface, vaporizing everything beneath it in an instant. The shockwave flattened the city walls, shattered buildings, and hurled debris for miles. Those who survived the initial blast would have been burned or suffocated by the inferno that followed. The entire city and neighboring settlements were erased in seconds. For centuries afterward, the land remained uninhabited, poisoned by salt and ash. The lush valley described in Genesis became a lifeless wasteland. The parallels between the archaeological evidence and the biblical account are astonishing. The Bible describes fire and brimstone raining from the heavens, the exact imagery one might use to describe a meteor explosion. The suddenness of the destruction, the annihilation of the land, and even the lingering desolation all match the findings at Tal El-Hammam. Was this coincidence? Or was this cataclysm the very event remembered in the book of Genesis? While scientists may see a natural disaster, believers see divine judgment. A moment when heaven and earth intersected in fury. And perhaps both are true. A cosmic event used as a tool of divine will. In Scripture, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah is not just a story of physical ruin. It's a story of moral decay. Ezekiel 16:49 says, "Now this was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and needy." Their downfall became a symbol of what happens when human pride, greed, and corruption reach their peak. As Jude 1:7 warns, Sodom and Gomorrah and the surrounding towns gave themselves up to sexual immorality and perversion. They serve as an example of those who suffer the punishment of eternal fire. Whether by divine hand or cosmic accident, the message is clear. No civilization, no matter how powerful or prosperous, is beyond accountability. The ruins of Tal El-Hammam stand today as a haunting reminder that humanity is not invincible. Our world, too, is vulnerable, not just to moral decay, but to forces of nature that can erase entire cities in the blink of an eye. Scientists estimate that meteor airbursts like the one that may have destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah occur every few thousand years. In cosmic terms, that means Earth is due for another. Every day, our planet is bombarded by space debris. Most of it burns up harmlessly in the atmosphere, but a large enough object could cause devastation unlike anything we've seen in modern times. When we look at Tal El-Hammam, we are looking at a mirror, a reflection of our own vulnerability. It reminds us how fragile human civilization truly is, how easily the mighty can fall, and how swiftly the world can change. Today, the site of Tal El-Hammam lies silent beneath the Jordanian sun. The ancient city's walls are shattered, its stones blackened by an inferno that occurred nearly 3,600 years ago. Visitors who walk among the ruins describe a strange stillness, as if time itself stopped in that moment of destruction. Every grain of glass, every burned fragment of pottery tells the same story. In an instant, life turned to ash. Whether one believes this was the hand of God or the work of the cosmos, the message endures. It is a tale of destruction, yes, but also of revelation. Because even through devastation, truth is unearthed. For generations, Sodom and Gomorrah were thought to be myths, parables meant to teach moral lessons. But archaeology has brought them out of legend and into history. Beneath the sands of the Jordan Valley, scientists have found the remains of a cataclysm so violent, it matches the biblical account in every detail. A city destroyed in fire from the sky, a land rendered barren, a warning that echoes through time. As we look upon these ruins today, one question lingers. If it happened once, could it happen again? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into ancient history and biblical mystery, make sure to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep exploration into the past. Until next time, remember, the truth may be buried, but it's never lost forever.